Hi everyone, I'm Lieutenant Colonel Lisa Hoyt, the Air Force Program Manager for the Exceptional Family Member Program. Thank you all so much for joining us for our 2019 Virtual Summit 3.0. I'm truly honored to share with you the many ways our team has been working to enhance your family's experience in EFMP. In EFMP, we have 3 separate turbines, and we in the medical component are here primarily to support the assignments component. All 3 components have an overarching mission to support our families, but each of us has our own respective roles and lanes of operations, as you can see in the visual. Each component owns their own processes. Now, I can read you a bunch of AFIs and DOTIs, but the bottom line is the intent or the why we do what we do. We ensure that we don't send our airmen to a location that cannot support their families' educational and/or medical needs. So once an educational or medical condition is identified and meets the DOTI enrollment criteria, families will be enrolled in the program as it is mandatory. We will then ensure the screening is conducted, but this happens only after the active duty member receives an accompanied assignment notification. It's important to note here that we receive numerous questions and at times complaints about why we don't pre-screen for bases who will be able to support any given active duty member. This is because the Air Force maintains a fair and equitable assignments process. What does fair and equitable even mean? Well, imagine being told that you can't go to Base X solely on the basis of the fact that you have a family member with special needs. Or on the flip side, you can only go to bases X, Y, and Z because you have a family member with special needs. Either of these scenarios strips your right to make a choice about your career and your family, and at the end of the day, this is going to violate Title X law and the American with Disabilities Act. In addition to the service availability notice, information sheets are provided to families who receive non-travel recommendations. It also outlines the limitations and hardships that families are likely to experience should they travel against the travel recommendation. When any sponsor, regardless of rank, receives a negative travel recommendation for one or more family members, they will be able to choose one of the 4 ways forward. 1. Travel anyway with the family despite the non-travel recommendation. 2. Travel alone and maintain 2 separate households. 3. Apply for cancellation of orders or request a reassignment. And 4. Request a deferment if the family member is at a critical juncture in care. The EFMP assignment component can assist you by providing additional details for each of these options. On a side note, the Air Force cannot prevent or prohibit a military health care beneficiary from traveling on their own accord wherever they want, regardless of our non-travel recommendation. Per the Joint Travel Regulation, these family members will be awarded travel costs to all CONUS locations in conjunction with their sponsors' PCS orders. In contrast, OCONUS travel does require a positive travel recommendation from the Air Force Medical Services so that the family may receive command sponsorship in accordance with AFI 36-2110. Command sponsorship includes benefits such as government-funded travel to and from the OCONUS location, housing allowance, SOFA status, travel visa, and other medical, financial, legal, and educational benefits. All right, we're moving on to initiatives here. Your takeaway from this slide is that we hear you and we will continue to listen because your voice matters. We do whatever we can within our power and policies to help you with your unique circumstances and in support of the assignments community. Let's start with the one-stop shop. This concept was brought to us at last year's summit. Though the initial concept is to have this happen at every installation where family members can enter one location and have all of their questions answered by all 3 components, to include screenings. We will actually begin the process with our Air Force level policy and operations offices by co-locating at Joint Base San Antonio, Randolph early next year. From there, we will be able to better streamline component policies, projects, marketing, and responding to all of you. For the last 2 years, we have been working to develop our family orientation in order to provide our families with all the information about what it means to be enrolled in EFMP. Each installation will be hosting monthly or quarterly orientation town halls with a local POC from medical, the military personnel section, and family support. All EFMP family members are invited, but newly Q-coded sponsors are the target audience and will be required to attend. Family member travel screening? Well, this has been a DoD initiative since 2012. We have developed standardized forms for all services, and this will allow for families to have the capability to be screened at any MTF, regardless of service, around the world. The forms are ready to launch, and we are simply waiting for a green light from the Office of Special Needs. 2 years ago, you asked for an easier screening process. We understand that it's not easy, especially in some areas, to pull your children out of school, sit in traffic, coordinate work schedules in order to bring them in for a screening appointment. We have included telephonic screenings to accommodate your needs in our new AFI. Last year, we had an airman ask us, "Why is it so hard to know where my package is in the process?" Well, we took this one back and thought about how we can allow families to see the status of their EFMP packages. We have been working with our database developers to create a way to do just that. We are looking to release the CAC-enabled service member page in a couple of months, and barring any system glitches, you should see this real soon. And lastly, the service availability notice. Some of you who have been enrolled in EFMP for some time may have noticed a change in how we present availability of services at the gaining base. A long time ago, families were simply told, yes, you can go, or no, you can't go. We have worked on becoming increasingly transparent so that you have as much information as possible to help make your career and family transition decisions. The service availability notice now includes more detailed information about why you receive a travel recommendation or a non-travel recommendation by listing the availability of the specialty required, distance to care, wait times, and so forth. So what I'd like to draw attention to here is, look at all the light bulbs on the screen. These are your ideas, and I want to personally thank you for being a part of our team and helping us improve our processes. We are not finished as there's still much to be done, so keep your ideas coming our way. Okay, so now I want to talk about the frequent topics of inquiry. The first one is our expedited bases. The concept of expedited bases was piloted in 2013 and expanded in 2016. So far, we have stood up 11 expedited bases. These are locations where the medical treatment facilities have a 98% positive travel recommendation rate due to having a robust network of services in the area. This was the direct result of what families were asking for. A more expeditious process for areas that should be able to manage a variety of needs and highly complex family circumstances. Now, this doesn't mean that the gaining location does not bypass the screening by not looking to ensure that services are available. It simply means that Q-coded sponsors with an assignment to one of the expedited bases is afforded the opportunity to receive orders without going through the traditional family member travel service process. This also means less appointments and forms required depending on the circumstances. Unfortunately, with the increase in joint basing, these locations have become increasingly saturated, and some services may not be available at any given point in time, or the frequency of required services may not be met, which is why we now provide the family a service availability notice. We get a lot of questions about pre-screening. Members want to know why we can't pre-screen any given base prior to the family going through the screening process and getting their orders. So for reasons discussed earlier, pre-screening is not fair and equitable. In fact, it is discriminatory. It does not allow the airmen, it does not afford the airmen, rather, the opportunity to make their own decision for their family and their career. We also get questions about tiered basing. Although this sounds like a great idea in theory, it is nearly impossible to maintain in practice. We have been in contact with the other branches that have instituted a tiering Q coding system and are learning from their challenges, victories, and suggestions. One of the major concerns we are researching is the fact that our personnel system is not currently designed to designate airmen into a particular tier. The branches that are using the tiered Q coding system have struggled with maintaining data integrity for the appropriate tiers to which family members belong. Not to mention the fact the manpower that would be required to maintain such a system would far outweigh the potential benefits for this system. The EFMP medical community does not support a change in policy, which would preclude sponsors from taking part in a fair and equitable assignments process. This is due to the variability in the TRICARE network. Medical treatment facilities often are provided a monthly or quarterly update regarding available services in the gaining area. Oftentimes, this information is not the most accurate about service availability. This is because some providers drop out of the network or they become oversaturated and unable to meet the needs at any given point in time. It is very difficult to gauge services available in the future, but know that our TRICARE network is doing the best they can to get you the most up-to-date information. Further, some services are simply difficult to get in or out of the TRICARE network, such as ABA therapy. Frankly, communities are not growing these providers, or some don't want to move to locations which really need these specialty providers. When a gaining medical treatment facility reviews an EFMP package to determine if services are available, they are also looking at distance to care, frequency of care needed, wait times, and then factor in the likelihood of hardship for the family. If a service is required and is needed at a low frequency, the gaining chief of medical staff may recommend in favor of a PCS, knowing that a family may only need to travel once or twice a year. Here's a quick visual of the 11 expedited bases. No need to rush to write it all down, as these slides will remain available on this Facebook page and the EFMP YouTube video link provided in the Summit flyer. All right, everyone, here's a list of contacts for you. Remember, starting at your local facility is best. Otherwise, you can reach myself and my Rockstar staff at the organizational box noted above. We check it every day and do our best to respond as soon as possible. And here's a list of medical resources. Your patient advocate at your local medical treatment facility is a fantastic resource to address internal and local challenges you and your family may face. Your local TRICARE Operations and Patient Administration Office is also available to answer any benefits questions you may have, as well as assist with case management. TRICARE Online has a wealth of resources to include links to additional information on echo services, respite care, and related services for autism. Thank you all again for taking the time out of your day to be with us. I sincerely hope you leave here knowing how important you and your input has been in helping us transform our processes so that we can continue evolving to excellence.